Greetings from our channel again. Grace Kelly is a name that has been associated with grace and elegance for many centuries. She became an enduring symbol in addition to being Hollywood's biggest star. When she married Prince Rainier III of Monaco in a lavish ceremony, bringing her into the realm of royalty. Grace Kelly enthralled the world with her renowned beauty and seemingly idyllic life. However, beyond that glittering glitz is a tale of unspoken sacrifices, unrealized goals, and inner turmoil. Her life was a series of choices that altered her destiny rather than merely a quest for fame. In the end, she had to deal with the difficult obstacles of love, celebrity, and being confined as a princess. Grace's life became an emotional tale that went beyond luxury to depict the essence of a real human being due to fated dreams and significant sacrifices. Grace Patricia Kelly was born in Philadelphia on November 12, 1929. Into a family that was well known for their achievements as well as the rigorousness of their schooling. Her father, John B. Kelly Sr., was a prosperous construction tycoon and a three-time Olympic gold champion in rowing. In addition to teaching physical education, her mother, Margaret Mayer, was a strong advocate for upholding family rules. She was a very good instructor from an early age. Grace grew up in a high-stakes world where family honor and success were always valued highly. Although her parents wanted their daughter to go into reputable fields like teaching or nursing, Grace had a strong love for the arts from an early age. She acted out scenes she conceived in her mind for hours in front of the mirror. She took part in school plays when she was 12 years old, and she loved playing various parts. However, Grace's father, a conservative guy with strong opinions about the entertainment industry, did not readily embrace her desire to pursue the arts. Being an actress didn't seem all that different from other menial occupations to him, and it wasn't the kind of career he had in mind for his daughter. The first significant challenge Grace faced on her journey to achieving her dream was his disapproval. She never quit up, though. Grace's tenacity and resolve served as the motivation behind her success in every challenge. Grace discreetly fostered a goal that was much greater than anyone could have ever imagined, despite the opposition of her family. Another road, a world of stage lights and boundless possibilities, was developing within of her. Early career Grace Kelly made the decision to pursue her passion after years of living under her family's rigorous discipline and expectations. After relocating from Philadelphia to New York in 1947, she started her modeling career at the Walter Thornton Modeling Agency. Even though she first worked on ads for commonplace goods like cigarettes and insecticides, these gigs gave her a reliable source of cash and progressively introduced her to the world of the arts. Although Grace faced many difficulties in her early years in New York, she never let them stop her. Grace was able to make connections with people in the entertainment world through modeling. These, however, were but the beginning for her and would not be sufficient to fulfill her acting desire. Grace persistently pursued genuine acting roles with tenacity. Television producers were immediately impressed by her grace and elegance. Her major break came in 1949 when she was asked to play the lead in the television adaptation of Sinclair Lewis's novel, Bethel Meredith. With this part, Grace finally got to pursue her lifelong passion of working in television. It helped her distinguish herself in the entertainment world and was one of her first performing appearances. Her appearance and innate acting ability instantly enthralled television viewers. Grace made frequent appearances on live television shows after that. Grace was one of the burgeoning young stars in the television industry during the thriving 1950s. She made appearances in about 60 television shows, including well-known live performances from Kraft Television Theater, Studio One, and the Philco Television Playhouse. She was able to further develop her acting abilities and establish her reputation in the entertainment industry with each part. In addition to providing Grace with invaluable knowledge, her television work helped her establish herself in the entertainment industry. Professionals in the field soon recognized Grace for her timeless beauty, refinement, and range of performing skills. A significant turning point in her career was reached in 1950 when she was recognized by Theater World magazine as one of the most promising individuals on the scene. Film success. Grace had made appearances in almost 60 live television shows before landing her first big movie role in 1951, playing a supporting part in 14 Hours. Even though the role wasn't very important, it was a springboard to the movie business, which was where she hoped to succeed. Grace co-starred with Gary Cooper in the 1952 movie High Noon, but her understated performance and alluring looks caught the interest of both reviewers and viewers. This paved the way for bigger projects and was the first time Grace started to establish her own reputation in the eyes of the public. When Grace co-starred with Clark Gable and Ava Gardner in Mogambo in 1953, it was a turning point in her career. In addition to being a box office hit, the movie nominated Grace for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Her career took a significant turn after her outstanding performance in the movie, which made her one of Hollywood's most promising young stars. The success of Monaco introduced Grace Kelly to Alfred Hitchcock, one of the most significant business associates of her career. Grace's performance as Margot Wendy's, a wife whose husband plans to have her murdered, demonstrated her range from strength to vulnerability. Hitchcock saw Grace's unique potential and asked her to star in his 1954 picture. The success of the movie not only established Grace's reputation but also marked the start of a lengthy partnership between her and Hitchcock. Building on her popularity, Grace Kelly starred in 2 more Hitchcock films, Rear and Rear Window. In the former, she portrayed James Stewart's character's girlfriend, Lisa Fremont. Because Grace skillfully blended stunning beauty with astute knowledge, this part stands out among Grace's most memorable performances. Lisa Fremont is still one of Grace's most notable characters, and Rear Window turned into a Hitchcock masterpiece. The opulent setting of the French Riviera served as the backdrop for her subsequent romantic thriller, To Catch a Thief. Starring opposite Cary Grant, the 2 actors' chemistry produced an enthralling and sensual movie. Grace portrayed a confident, charming, and bold young lady in it, a role that was a wonderful fit for her inherent attractiveness and sense of style. When Grace Kelly received the Academy Award for Best Actress in 1954 for her performance in The Country Girl, her acting career reached its zenith. The glamorous roles she usually played were a far cry from this role. Grace portrayed a distressed woman who had to deal with her husband's severe emotional wounds and alcoholism. Grace demonstrated that she was not only a stunning actor but also a fantastic person by thriving in the part, which called for emotional nuance and depth. The pinnacle of Grace Kelly's cinematic career, this Oscar victory was the ultimate acknowledgement of her skill. Rumors. But Hollywood's glittering radiance also brought with it unwelcome rumors and personal struggles in addition to stardom and a flourishing career. As Grace rose to fame, she also became the focus of tabloids and gossip columns that constantly tried to reveal the little-known details of her private life. There were rumors that Grace had intimate relationships with a number of well-known co-stars during the height of her fame. Her supposed affair with her co-star in Monaco, Clark Gable, was one of the most talked about. There was a lot of conjecture over a real-life romance because the 2 had intimate moments together while filming. Though rumors of Grace's covert partnerships persisted, she never officially acknowledged any relationships and kept her personal life private. Furthermore, there were rumors that Grace was romantically involved with the well-known actor Ray Milland, her Dial M for Murder co-star. Given that Milland was already married, the media was highly upset by the rumor of Grace's contact with him. Although neither Grace nor Milland confirmed anything, their closeness on set only served to fuel the rumors, which for a long time dominated the headlines. The demands and difficulties of celebrity were present in Grace's life even outside of the love speculations. As a representation of brilliance and beauty, she was frequently criticized by the public for her looks and way of life. Her every move was closely monitored by the media, which offered commentary on everything from her attire to her conduct at public gatherings. For Grace, who loved seclusion and quiet in her personal life, this scrutiny became more than just an aspect of her celebrity. One of the most well-known love stories in Hollywood and royal history began with Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III's tragic encounter at the Cannes Film Festival in 1955. Grace had just won an Academy Award for her performance in The Country Girl, making her one of Hollywood's top stars at the moment. She traveled to Cannes to shine at one of the most prominent film business events, in addition to promoting her picture. Grace was asked to meet Prince Rainier of Monaco, a tiny but affluent country on the Mediterranean coast, while she was in Cannes for a magazine picture shoot. The first meeting didn't proceed as expected. Due to schedule constraints, the shoot was repeatedly postponed, and Grace nearly had to cancel the visit because of technological difficulties at her hotel. But destiny had other plans, and they eventually met at the Prince's Palace on May 6, 1955. Nobody could have foreseen when Grace entered the opulent palace that this would be the turning point in her life. A close bond formed between Grace and Prince Rainier from the moment they met. Each was attracted to the other's personality and appearance. Grace was immediately seen as a unique woman by Prince Rainier, who was prepared to get married in order to ensure the future of his principality. The romance and splendor of royal life gave Grace a fresh perspective and a temptation that was too strong to refuse. They continued their long-distance romance over the course of the following year, with regular correspondence and phone calls between Monaco and the United States. Their love grew stronger in spite of their disparate locations and cultural backgrounds. Grace was formally proposed to by Prince Rainier while he was in Philadelphia visiting her family. In addition to being a romantic union, their marriage was a momentous political occasion for Monaco, guaranteeing the Grimaldi dynasty's survival and keeping the tiny country from being absorbed by France. In a royal wedding that was regarded as a representation of wealth and eternity, Grace Kelly was formally crowned Princess of Monaco on April 18, 1956. In addition to being a private affair, their wedding was one of the most widely reported weddings in the 20th century. First, 3,000 Monaco residents attended a short civil ceremony in the throne room. The religious service was televised live to millions of people worldwide the next day, April 19, 1956, in Monaco's St. Nicholas Cathedral. The wedding gown of Grace, created by MGM's Helen Rose, was a fashion gem. Over the course of 6 weeks, 36 seamstresses created the outfit by hand using more than 25 meters of silk and lace. Grace captivated the world with her grace and dignity, making her look like a princess straight out of a fairy tale. 600 esteemed visitors from all over the world, including members of the royal family and well-known social personalities, attended the ceremony. There was more to this occasion than a wedding. It represented the fusion of Hollywood and monarchy, the splendor of entertainment and the grandeur of the palace. Grace and Prince Rainier's wedding became one of the biggest and most talked about royal weddings in history, with over 30 million viewers. It was the start of a new chapter in Grace Kelly's life as a princess, mother, and royal icon in addition to the conclusion of her storied cinematic career. Royal life, despite appearing to be the ideal representation of a fairy tale, life was actually full of difficulties and disputes. In addition to their disparate upbringings, Grace and Prince Rainier's relationship was put to the test by their divergent personalities and expectations. Grace gradually came to the realization that Monaco's royal life was very different from what she had dreamed of after the first beautiful moments. Prince Rainier was a lovely leader, but he was also possessive and domineering. In her capacity as princess, he held Grace to high standards and insisted that she follow the stringent regulations of the palace. They started to grow apart as a result of this control, particularly when Rainier resisted Grace's wish to carry on acting. She continued to hold on to that desire. It wasn't merely a sacrifice to give up her successful movie career to become a princess. Grace felt as though she had lost some of her individuality and independence as a result. In 1962, she was given the chance to resume acting when her close friend and mentor, Alfred Hitchcock, gave her the lead in Marnie. It was a demanding position that might have rekindled Grace's love of the arts. Prince Rainier, however, vehemently objected, arguing that a return to Hollywood would damage the royal reputation and her position in Monaco. One of Grace's biggest disappointments in the marriage was having to decline the chance to resume performing because of Rainier's dominance and her responsibilities as a mother. Grace had to deal with emotional and health issues in addition to job constraints. She was burdened by the rigid routines and unwavering expectations of life in the palace. Her health problems included allergies to Monaco's surroundings, conjunctivitis, and sleeplessness. Grace's loneliness and isolation were only exacerbated by these difficulties, particularly when she was unable to get emotional support from her spouse. Grace felt stifled and longed to leave the restrictions of royal life, and at times she contemplated divorce to find herself again. But she remained grounded because of her love for her kids. Grace couldn't bear the idea of abandoning Caroline, Albert, and Stephanie in the event of a divorce because she was a loving mother to them. Despite sacrificing her happiness and independence, motherhood became the link that kept her in the marriage. Even though Grace and Rainier shared a few tender moments, loneliness and distance dominated their relationship for the most part. Grace felt as though she was leading a life that wasn't her own because of Rainier's dominance and the demands of her royal responsibilities. Even though she was a princess, Grace frequently had the impression that she was imprisoned in a golden cage, encircled by splendor on the outside but imprisoned within by unseen limitations that she was unable to break free from. The gap between Grace and Rainier only widened over time. Rainier's expectations of Grace in her royal role were raised by his constant need to put the interests of the principality first as ruler of Monaco. Once a passionate and free-spirited actress, Grace was now constrained by her royal duties. The relationship they formerly had was progressively weakened by the disparities in their personalities and day-to-day activities. Even when Grace stood in front of the public at important royal ceremonies, she often felt isolated and alienated. Despite being acclaimed for her grace and beauty, she suffered from extreme loneliness in private. Grace wrote to her mother in private letters about her grief, the stresses she was under, and her desire to return to Hollywood, where she had previously been able to freely express her love of acting. Instead of living only for the prestige and obligations of being Princess of Monaco, she still longed for a life in which she could follow her goals and be herself. Grace Kelly's life, like that of Princess Diana years later, was filled with difficulties and demands while being closely watched by the media. In order to become Monaco's icon, Grace had to forego her prestigious film career and put up with restrictions on her personal independence. Princess Diana, on the other hand, had to live up to the high standards of the British royal family despite her vibrant and kind disposition. Both experienced the loneliness that comes with living in the spotlight of public life, death, and secrets, despite the fact that the public loved and admired them both. The world was shocked by Grace Kelly's untimely death on September 14, 1982. She and her daughter, Princess Stephanie, were traveling back to Monaco from the Rock Eagle estate when they were involved in the vehicle accident. The car fell off a cliff after Grace, who had experienced an unexpected brain hemorrhage while driving, lost control of it. Grace died the next day after suffering terrible injuries, despite being taken to the hospital right after. In addition to causing her family and others who loved her great sorrow, this event left a lot of things unanswered. Whether Grace was actually driving at the time of the collision was one of the main mysteries. Princess Stephanie, 17, was first suspected of being the driver, but she subsequently refuted the allegations. Stephanie claims that her mother was driving when Grace abruptly lost control of the vehicle as a result of the unanticipated stroke. The accident's mysteries, however, never went away. The mystery surrounding Grace's death was heightened by theories that the Grimaldi family was cursed. Legend has it that the Grimaldi family has been cursed since a kidnapped witch declared in the 13th century that marriage is the path to genuine happiness. The family had experienced many catastrophes over the decades, ranging from devastating accidents to dissolutions of marriages and internal conflict. The link between this curse and the royal tragedies that the Grimaldi family had experienced was further cemented by Grace's untimely death. Along with the mysteries surrounding the tragedy, another aspect of Grace Kelly's life gradually came to light following her death. She struggled financially throughout her marriage to Prince Rainier. Grace was forced to accept a substantial financial condition when she chose to wed Rainier. The Kelly family was required to pay a $2 million dowry, a startling amount at the time, in order to wed the Prince of Monaco. Grace's personal fortune was almost wiped out as a result, and when she joined the royal family, she was forced to relinquish total financial authority. Is that, despite being one of Hollywood's most well-known and affluent actresses, Grace Kelly had lost a large portion of her riches by the time of her passing. The majority of her own assets had been used to pay the dowry for her marriage to Rainier. In stark contrast to the public's perception of her as beautiful and extravagant, Grace left behind a humble home in Ireland and a little sum of money in her accounts, according to records that were later made public. After Grace passed away, the truth about her health also became apparent. In her last years, Grace had experienced a number of medical and mental health problems, such as psychological stress and sleeplessness. According to those who knew her, Grace struggled with mental instability as she repressed her emotions and coped with the high demands of royal life, which resulted in anxiety and melancholy. These problems were made worse by Grace's inability to get emotional support from Rainier, who made her feel colder and more aloof. Furthermore, Grace's interactions with other royal family members weren't always cordial. Questions were raised over her level of happiness in her royal life due to rumors that she was at odds with several members of the Grimaldi family and had a stormy relationship with Prince Rainier in the later years of their marriage. Grace never found the tranquility she had anticipated for inside the Monaco palace, according to documents and memoirs that were later made public. From the time she joined Monaco's royal family until her last days, Grace Kelly's life was filled with emotional and material hardships and sacrifices. Despite being a representation of wealth and influence, she went through far more than anyone could have ever expected. A complicated and intensely emotional portrait of a woman who was once acclaimed as the princess of all princesses was created by her financial difficulties, personal tragedies, and the mystery surrounding her death. In addition to being a gifted actress and a princess, Grace Kelly made a significant contribution to philanthropy and the arts. Her humanitarian and social efforts after becoming Princess of Monaco is just as significant as the iconic movies she appeared in. Grace Kelly rose to prominence as a representation of brilliance and grace. In addition to catapulting her to the pinnacles of celebrity, movies like High Noon, Dial M for Murder, and Rear Window solidified her legacy in the history of film. She was the embodiment of multifaceted roles, fusing femininity and strength. And generations of actors are still motivated by Grace Kelly today. Her works continue to be viewed and appreciated, proving that she has established herself as an essential component of the world's film culture. She spent a significant portion of her time and efforts on charity endeavors after becoming Princess of Monaco. She aided individuals in need and brought attention to social issues by founding and supporting a number of charity organizations, including as the Monaco Red Cross. Grace also had a strong interest in art and culture, supporting cultural endeavors in Monaco and abroad and serving as a patron of numerous artistic associations. The monuments and activities dedicated to Grace Kelly's memory demonstrate her lifelong commitment to the arts and charitable work. To honor her life, the Princess Grace Rose Garden in Monaco was established, with thousands of rose plants. In recognition of her passion for Irish literature and culture, the Princess Grace Irish Library was founded. In addition to preserving Grace's reputation, these legacies helped disseminate her passion for the arts and commitment to volunteerism. In the realms of art and aristocracy, Grace Kelly is still an indispensable figure. Her charitable donations have left a lasting legacy, and her name is inscribed in the annals of film history. As a woman who was powerful and graceful and who lived and gave her all to what she loved, Grace's image endures in the hearts of her fans thanks to the monuments and memorials. I appreciate you watching. To ensure you don't miss out on more fascinating content, remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Tell us what you think by leaving a comment. I'll see you in the upcoming video. Farewell.